forgot that. Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my quarantine room. I'm here with this lovely little supermodel. This guy, who is a very proud male by the way, was a wild caught capture in June or July of this summer. And man, he has had quite the attitude. He loves to bite. But if you don't know what this is an alterna phase gray band kingsnake. Are you gonna bite me? And he's just as cute as a button. Ultimately, long story short, I've been coming to West Texas since the 90s, hunting rock cuts, looking for this very species. And it wasn't until I had a whole summer here where I could really devote my days and nights to having a lot of fruitless herping trips, to be quite honest with you, where I basically went out and either found nothing or at least nothing that I planned to collect. I usually see, even on a pretty dead night, I see an atrox or maybe a coach whip or something. I've seen porcupines and random armadillos and, you know, interesting things. It's always fun. But this creature is one that I've been hunting for my whole life. This was my first wild caught alterna. There is a cut that's not very well known that I frequent, and my crew and I were headed out there early one evening around dusk. We saw that there was already a car there, so we kind of went cruising around for a little while and just hunting the roads and stuff. About an hour later we came back and the car was still there, and we saw the guy up on the top of the cut, or maybe in front of the cut. Anyway, we saw him out there. So we stop and kind of try and visit with him, and he's not very excited to have company, but he was nice. And so out of courtesy, we just asked him, hey, would you mind if we also hunted this cut? And he said, how many of there are you? Which we said there were 3 of us in our car. And he said, well, you guys seem really nice. If you stay on that side, I'll stay on this side, you know, kind of setting some ground rules. So we said, yeah, cool, no problem. So we walked down the cut and started walking back up. And I saw this little hole about 10 feet up the cut, and there was a striped tail sticking out of it. And so there's a species of Scoloporus that get in the holes that kind of from far away sort of look the same as maybe a snake tail. And so of course we ran up there, and actually his head and his tail were both sticking out, and just his body was in the hole. It was too high for us to reach. So one of us climbed up the cut, and then of course it went into the hole, and we didn't know if the hole was, you never know. Some of those tunnels go all the way through the rock and down under the ground. We could see in it about maybe 8 inches, and then it kind of curved. So we got our lights and we did this, and we kind of staked out. So we're hanging off the cut, checking out this hole. And we could see that it just sort of curved, and that the alterna was just kind of hanging out right there in that pocket, just waiting for us to leave. We were looking for anything to try and reach in there because the hooks that we had were too big to fit in that little hole. It was maybe the diameter of a golf ball. Long story short, I think we ended up fashioning a small hook out of just a piece of metal, like an old coat hanger that we found on the ground. And we were able to very gently and carefully pry this out. Well, you know, once you kind of hook it around the middle of the body, then it just comes out. An interesting thing is there was a dead lizard kind of crammed in the hole, and it was sort of decomposed. So I don't know if someone maybe saw an alterna going in there and were trying to bait it to come back out maybe a couple nights before that. That was a little bit strange that I had to pull a lizard carcass out of the hole first. Anyway, we got the alterna out. He was unharmed. The guy comes across, and, you know, he wanted to see what we caught, and he said, oh, it's nice, you know, and went on his way. A few days later online, there were some people talking smack about me, saying that I was a cut jumper, and that I was traveling with a huge group and we essentially stole the snake from the other guy. And so I had to go on and set the record straight and say, although I had every right to be there, I actually asked permission, and we're following the friendly parameters set by the guy who got there first. And so there was a little bit of drama following, but I don't blame him because I've got this alterna and he doesn't. So I mean, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. Anyway, this was the first alterna of 2021, and actually the first one I'd ever caught in my entire lifetime. So pretty much bucket list animal right here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a classic alterna phase, and very healthy, very proud male, and I'm very excited. He's still in quarantine, but once he comes out and he appears to be healthy and feeding, he's definitely going to go into my breeding program. And I have to say, catching the snake and owning him has been a very proud moment for me. I know that some snake keepers and snake breeders are what the old timers call deli cup cowboys, where the only snakes you have are ones that you went and bought at a show or online. And I'm the real deal, so this was a very proud moment for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time. I can't believe he hasn't bitten me this whole time. Maybe he knows I love him. But anyway, so this was one of my crowning achievements. This wild-caught gray-banded king snake from West Texas. Hope you guys like this one. Comment below your favorite herping story, and I'll see you guys next time.